What is up, guys, and welcome to my pickems for the Perfect World Major in Shanghai for 2024, and this one is for the opening stage of the event. So the viewer pause and the pickems opened last night, and we get to make a choice about these 16 teams, whether they go 3-0, 3-1, 3-2, or 0-3. Pretty simple, same as last major. So if you've played some of the earlier pick'em games, you used to want to put some more uncertain picks in the 3-0 category, because if they went 3-1 or 3-2, and the 3-1 or 3-2 advanced category also applied to 3-0. So if you'd put a team here that went 3-0, you would get the points. Whereas nowadays, if you put, for example, Liquid in 3-1, 3-2, and they go 3-0, you will not get the point. So they made it a little bit more difficult, but it kind of incentivizes you to pick actual potential 3-0 teams here. If you have not been watching my channel for a very long time, you will have probably just seen my HLTV fantasy videos, but every time the major comes around, I'll also kind of preface my fantasy lineups by doing my pick'ems, and you'll get a bit of an idea about what sorts of ideas I have about each of the teams. I should probably have the matchups open. I didn't realize that they wouldn't show here the first matchups, but I remember some of them. I know it's Mongols versus Rare Atom, for example. I believe it's VP versus MIBR. But either way, I'll probably not be thinking too much about what possible matchups there are. So I like to use the majors that I am, so this simulator, for potential matchups in future rounds when I watch the major, just to know what's potentially gonna happen. But I think it's too hard to predict what the 2-0 matchups or 0-2 matchups are, because it's always gonna depend on some of the other matches that happen. So if you want to make some more educated ideas about 0-2 teams that probably won't play each other, you might want to look at the majors that I am page. But for me, I'm just gonna pick who I think are the weakest teams here. I think this is always a pretty nice place to start, is just throw the two weakest teams in your eyes in here. I would like to also preface this by saying that I think this is a very difficult stage to predict. I think almost every team has a chance to advance, and there's a fair amount of teams that might not advance or might go 0-3. But I think there's two teams above all who I think should struggle to even get one win unless they play against each other. First of these is Wildcard. They were very impressive at the NA RMR. I mean, we have a very high European majority here. I think they're going to struggle against a lot of these teams, just firepower-wise for the most part. Yeah, nothing much else to say about that. And then the other team for me is Rare Atom. A bit of a Chinese buff or local buff, but just on paper they're still fairly much weaker than some of the other teams. I think some of the teams you might want to consider for this, Passion UA possibly, of course, very impressive in the EU RMR, and they looked very solid. And I think making it out of the EU RMR is always going to be harder than making it out of the American or the European RMRs. So that's partially why I like Passion UA more than Wildcard or Rare Atom. Also, I just got a feeling that they can definitely eke out a best of 1 win or a best of 3 win against one of these weaker teams. Imperial is one team that you could consider, but there's enough established names in that roster where it feels like I'd rather go with these two teams again. I think FlyQuest could go 0-3, but they have also sometimes shown capability of going like in best of ones. They can definitely put up a fight. They've got individuals that have been at these stages before. And then maybe Cloud9 would be the last team that I would consider, just because they haven't been very solid for a long time, or we haven't seen them too much, to be honest. But as I kind of correctly predicted for their RMR, they are pretty decent, and they are still have a lot of good names on that roster. Boomage, of course, a major champion. Axile used to be like a top 3 player in the world, and he's still pretty young. Icy seems like a promising youngster, and of course, Heavy God honestly looks very, very solid every time I watch him. So, I think there's enough firepower for Cloud9 to probably not go 0-3, and I think they are one of the candidates definitely to go 3-1 or 3-2. But based on what I said, you might also already know that I'm not gonna go for FlyQuest, Passion UA, or Imperial in 3-0 or 3-1. Those are the those are the teams that I probably won't consider. And then it's between these 11 teams. Which ones do I want to put into these 3-0, 3-0, 3-1, and 3-2 categories? And this is where it gets hard, because there's no way I can correctly predict 3-0 versus 3-1. Like we've seen in previous stages in the RMR already, like Navi went 3-1 because they played Mouse. It's such fine margins between 3-0 and 3-1. It's just a matter of who I feel most comfortable with. I don't feel very comfortable with any of them. I'm gonna try and think of teams that I think are gonna go 3-1 and 3-2, but won't go 3-0. I think Furia is one of those teams. I don't see them as being strong enough to win every matchup, especially if they play one of the stronger teams. I think that's gonna be a struggle for them, but I would be very surprised if they don't make it through this stage. They're finally looking like they have the kind of composition of players that they would want. I'm always impressed by Pain. I think Pain is also making it through, and it's also probably not enough for a 3-0 or 3, just a 3-0 run. I know that, I'm fairly certain that Mongols makes it through. And this is one potential team that I could see going 3-0 if they're on their game. I probably should just go for it then, just because of the fact that I feel they also have a fairly easy, they have Rare Atom in their first matchup, so they're getting a pretty free win first of all. I think they're one of the favorites to go 3-0 at the very least. I don't think Fnatic are making it through. I feel like they can be dropped into this category of teams with FlyQuest and Passion UA and Imperial. MIBR is like on the cusp. I think they're a 2-2 team, and then it's based on who they play. Gamer Legion might also not make it. I actually feel pretty strongly about Big making it, based on what we saw at the RMR. They look very solid, which is nice to see. If you didn't know, I'm half German. I've probably never said that on this channel, but I am half German, so always got a special place in my heart for Big as well as the Finnish players. But I would hope that they make it through. They're potential 3-0 candidates as well. But for now we'll put them here. I think Liquid makes it through. They've just got enough firepower. I think someone like Twists and Naf can almost carry this team to the next stage, but I don't think they're gonna make it much further than that, to be honest. I'm so uncertain about VP. I really don't know where to put them. I think Complexity probably makes it. Just the individual level of someone like Elige. But I think it could be a strugglesome tournament for them. I'm not like super convinced that they're gonna clear this easily or anything like that. I think they are also making it through though. I mean, there's one of these teams. Team Liquid could be one of those teams as well that just goes on a roll and goes 3-0. I wouldn't be surprised of a Team Liquid 3-0. Sorry. I think there's They are the sort of momentum team that could go 3-0 just based off that. You know what? Let's put Liquid 3-0. I don't know why I would pick any other team to go 3-0. I think VP is such a weird one as well, to be honest. They looked okay in the RMRs. And they probably have enough individual like level to make it through here as well. Damn, these 4 teams are so even in my books. Like Cloud9 probably has some of the best individuals. Gamer Legion have these young guns who have shown a lot of grit to make it through, going 0-2 and then 4-2 after that. MIBR, I think, is an underrated team and could definitely be one of those 2-2 teams as well. And Fnatic is like, they should be better generally than they are. They've got Blaymaf as well, though. I think Fnatic probably makes it rather than Cloud9 out of these. It's a very... I think it's between these two, to be honest. Unless I want to drop something out of here. Something like... I could see myself not going VP, for example. I don't think that's crazy. I actually might just do this. I think VP might not make it. It's just that VP haven't been consistent enough pre-RMRs. Like, we've seen some really bad things from them. Jame was looking... They are the sort of team that should make it through this kind of stage. Maybe it's just Fnatic not making it. I want to, like, say that this is very, very difficult. Like, I think... I wouldn't be surprised. Like, some people I've seen put Passion UA through. I've seen Imperial go through. I've seen a lot of these teams in different people's pickems go through. I feel pretty comfortable with this. And I feel comfortable with, like, these 2 Brazilian teams going through. But they could go 3-0, who knows? Probably not, though. I feel like Big could go 3-0. VP is a potential 3-0 pick. If I want to game the system a little bit, because it's still fine to go with, like, a Gambler pick at 3-0. It's just less good than it used to be. So maybe that's actually what I should do here. Just go VP 3-0. We'll have, like, one team that I actually think is going 3-0. And we'll have one team that potentially could make it 3-0. But I'm not certain enough they will even make it through. I'm pretty certain Liquid makes it through. Should I maybe have VP Mongols going through? No, but they have Rare Atom first matchup. I feel pretty good about that. So that means that Mongols is like the worst of the higher seeds. So that would mean that if all the favorites win, Mongols should play like the highest seed team. I'm not sure what the highest seed team is. It might be like Furia. So maybe this is just better. Do I feel better with this? I kind of do. Am I getting baited by Big looking good in the last stage? I think they looked good enough that I feel comfortable in doing this. I don't feel too bad about leaving Gamer Legion out. I think the fact that they went 0-2 is still a bit too worrisome. I don't feel bad about leaving MIBR out. I think they're like a 1-2, 2-2 team. Or 1-3 or 2-3 team. More often than not in this bracket. And Fnatic, I think, definitely have what it takes to make it through, but... And yeah, by the way, I already, just as a kind of teaser for my HLTV fantasy lineup, I'm probably gonna include one player from Fnatic, that being Blaymaf. just based off the fact that he's like under 210k. And I think Fnatic have a very decent shot at doing a lot of damage here. So I think BlameF is pretty locked into my fantasy lineup. I'll be releasing that video like before the event starts. But yeah, I think I'm just actually going with this. I feel like VP is like a potential 3-0 team. Liquid is a potential 3-0 team, but I'm not certain about VP making it through. But if they go through, if they are so as good as they looked at the RMR, I think they have a really good shot at doing this. And then Liquid are the sort of team that could go on a roll, but could also struggle massively if someone like Yakindar or Ultimate is not performing. Then I feel pretty comfortable about these teams making it through. And this is, I feel comfortable with. And I think the only way one of these doesn't go 0-3 is if they play each other, and then that's just what's gonna happen. So I'm saving these picks. I didn't get the pass yet. I'm not certain if I'm gonna buy it. Would be fun. Maybe I do spend the cash for it and get some stickers. But at least you can make the pickems even without that. But yeah, if you enjoy this kind of content, I will be posting that HLTV fantasy lineup for this event soon. I will be also, of course, making new videos for each of the stages and for both pickems and HLTV fantasy. So if you enjoy that, if you enjoy this kind of content, please remember to leave a like, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.